Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Mari. I'm one of the librarians at Portland Public Library in Portland, Maine, and I'm here today to continue reading The Year of the Dog by Grace Lin. This book is published by Little Brown and Company, and we're going to pick up where we left off, where Becky and Pacey were just meeting a new girl at school. This is chapter 6, A New Year, A New Friend. And there is a drawing of a unicorn and of Becky, Pacey, and the new girl. Becky and I sat down next to the new girl. She smiled at me. "Hello," she said. "Are you Pacey?" "How did you know?" I asked. "My mother told me about you. My mother met your mother last week. Didn't you know?" She said. "She said there would be another Asian girl in school." "Her name's not Pacey," Becky said, pointing at me. "It's Grace." "Grace is my name at school," I rushed to explain. "My mom calls me Pacey." The new girl frowned and looked a little confused, but said, "Well, anyway, my name is Melody Ling." "Ling?" Becky said. "That's like Grace's last name, Lin." Melody nodded, except it's with a G, L-I-N-G. We found out that Melody and I had a lot of things that were almost the same. Well, I had an older sister and a younger sister. She had an older brother and a younger brother. We both had long black hair, but she had bangs and I didn't. We both played the violin, but I was in Suzuki Book 3, and she was in Suzuki Book 2. We both couldn't write in Chinese, but she could speak it and I couldn't. My birthday was May 17th, and Melody's birthday was July 17th. "You're almost twins," Becky said. "Lucky." "My mom must have forgotten to tell me about you," I said, "probably because it's Chinese New Year." "Yeah," Becky said. "It's Year of the Dog. Grace is going to tell me when it's the Day of the Unicorn so we can celebrate that." "Day of the Unicorn," Melody said. "There's no Day of the Unicorn." "Yes, there is," Becky said. "It's during the leap year, and there's a parade, and we hang pictures. Grace said so." Melody looked at me, and I felt myself turning red. "I must have made a mistake," I mumbled. "Oh," Melody said. "That Day of the Unicorn. I forgot. My family doesn't celebrate it, so I don't remember. But you're right. It's a big festival." Melody grinned at me, and I smiled back. I knew we were going to be good friends. Here's a picture of them celebrating Day of the Unicorn. Chapter 7, Almost Twins. When I came home from school, I couldn't wait to tell Mom about Melody, but of course she already knew about it. Mom told me about how she had gone grocery shopping and was surprised to see another Asian woman doing the same thing. The woman was so happy to see another Asian person that she went up to Mom and introduced herself. Melody's parents were from Taiwan too, so we're both Taiwanese American. Mom said that she would take me over to see Melody's new house. Here's a picture of their mom's meeting. It was fun going to Melody's house. She had the best room. One whole wall of her room was a picture of jungle animals. There was a lion staring at the grass and monkeys climbing the trees. There was even a pink flamingo. "How did you get your wall like that?" I asked, impressed. "It came that way," Melody said. "If you look closely, you can see that it's a kind of wallpaper, not painted." I looked really closely, and I could see a tiny line down the side. It was like a huge ceiling-to-floor poster. We tried to draw all the animals in Melody's notebook. I couldn't copy the lion very well, but Melody thought my elephant drawing was pretty exactly like the one on the wall. Melody's brother, Benji and Felix, came in and drew too. We drew Melody riding the giraffe and Felix swinging from a vine. Benji and Felix weren't too bad for boys. After Benji drew himself feeding bananas to the monkey, he said, "I'm hungry. Let's go get some real bananas." That's when we realized that we were all hungry, so we went downstairs to eat. In my house, Mom always had cookies or chocolate or cheese and crackers in the cupboard. If we didn't have those, then there was always fruit in a can that I could eat. But Melody didn't have any of those things. Mom told me that Melody's mother was very nutritious, so in her cupboards there were only plain rice cakes that tasted like paper. There were nuts that were still on the shelves and didn't have any salt in them, and there weren't any bananas. "Don't you have any candy?" I asked. "No," Melody said, "but we have vitamins. They're kind of sweet." We opened the big jar of vitamins. There was a big letter C on them. They were thin and flat and tasted like oranges. They were pretty good. Not as good as candy, but still yummy. We all sat on the floor eating vitamins. Melody's mother came into the room and was surprised to see us with a vitamin jar. She seemed a little upset with us. I don't know why. I thought she would be happy that we were being so healthy. "What are you doing?" she said. "You shouldn't be eating vitamins like that." We were hungry, Melody said. Well, it's almost dinner time, she said. I'll make you something better to eat. Pacey, why don't you call your mother and see if you can stay over here for dinner? I called Mom, and we went back to Melody's room. My mom called you Pacey, Melody said. Your mom and your sisters call you that too, but everyone at school calls you Grace. How come? Oh, I have 2 names, I told her, an American name and a Chinese name. Why don't they just call you one of them? Melody asked. Don't you get mixed up? Well, I said, it was like this. How my name changed from Pacey to Grace. On my first day of school, what is your name? My teacher asked me. Right away I said, Pacey Lin. But she looked at the roster and she said, no, you're a big girl now. You don't go by that name anymore. It just says here that your name is Grace. I didn't understand, but I nodded my head. I knew I shouldn't tell my sister that she was wrong, but I kept thinking that she had made a mistake. Maybe the teacher had mixed me up with another girl and I was supposed to be somewhere else. Maybe she was me and I was her. How could I find her? On the bus ride home, I asked Lissy about it. Oh, those are our American names, Lissy told me. They call me Beatrice. Mom and Dad gave us American and Chinese names. I think the people at the hospital told them to when we were born. Well, I want to be called Pacey, I grumbled. Don't be stupid, Lissy said. Pacey is too weird for everyone. They won't know how to say it. If I used Lissy, they used to say, is that Lishi or Lissy? And then they'd ask, why do Chinese people always have these other weird names? Just let them call you Grace. Still, I wasn't convinced. People won't know which one is really me, though. Look, Lissy said, it's like egg foo young. At home, we call it foo young don, but at restaurants, they call it egg foo young. So it's easier for Americans to say. But it's still the same egg pancake, and you know you're eating it when Mom gives it to you, don't you? And you know what to order at the restaurant. It's not that hard. So now, I finished, everyone at school calls me by my American name, and everyone at home calls me by my Chinese name. Well, Melody said, I guess it's kind of cool. It's like a nickname. But do you want me to call you Pacey or Grace? I thought a moment. I call myself both names, I said, and we're almost twins, so you can call me both too. Chapter 8. Dinner at Melody's. Felix came into the room and told us that dinner was ready. I was glad because my stomach was grumbling. What's for dinner, I asked. Chinese food, of course, Felix said. Same as your house, probably. When we got downstairs, I wasn't surprised to see that Melody's mother was opening her rice cooker. We had rice every day at our house, too. But Melody's mother was scooping out big spoonfuls of brown rice. We never had brown rice at my house, only white rice. And then on the table, the vegetables weren't stir-fried, and the tofu didn't have any shiny sauce on it. Everything was plain and colorless and dry. Are you sure this is Chinese food? I asked Melody. Melody's mother heard me. This is Chinese food cooked in a healthy way, she told me. It's very good for you. Try it, you'll like it. I tried it, but I didn't like it. To me, the rice was too crunchy and chewy, and the vegetables and tofu were tasteless. Yuck. I looked at Melody, Benji, and Felix. How could they eat this? But they didn't seem to think it was that bad. They put everything in their mouths and swallowed it. I just kept pushing the rice from one side of my plate to the other. Aren't you hungry? Melody asked me. I thought I was, I said to her, but I guess not. Melody's mother looked at me worried. I hope eating all those vitamins didn't make you sick. Could a person get sick from eating too many healthy things? Maybe I was already so full of nutritious things from the vitamins that my body couldn't take anymore. Maybe that was why the dinner tasted so bad to me. We had dried apricots for dessert. They looked like shriveled orange mushrooms. I only had one. By that time, I was convinced it was because my body couldn't fit any more nutrition, but Melody's mother worried that it was something else. She called my mom and talked to her for a long time in Taiwanese. Mom came right over and picked me up. She put her hand on my head and said that I felt okay, but she'd bring me home just in case. In the car, she said, "It's too bad you got sick. It sounded like you were having a good time." It was fun, I said, but can Melody come over to our house for dinner next time? Chapter 9. Red Eggs. Melody and I became best friends. Like 2 chopsticks, we were always together. She came over to my house, or I went over to hers. One day, she came over to help color eggs. They were for my cousin Albert's red egg party. He was just born, so we were going to visit him in New Jersey. When you go to a red egg party, you have to bring red eggs. Red eggs symbolize good luck for a new baby. I guess the more red eggs Albert got, the more luck he'd have. I'd get sick of eating all those eggs, though. And there's instructions for how to color an egg red. Dip a red envelope in warm water. Rub the moist envelope on the eggs. The red from the envelope will color the eggs red. You can see the instructions. Coloring the eggs red was fun. Lissy, Kiki, Melody, and I dipped the lucky red envelopes in warm water and then rubbed the red coloring onto the eggs. Lissy got red dye on her nose, and I laughed at her. Is there such a thing as red egg colorer? I asked. That would be a fun job. No, Melody said, there aren't enough red egg parties for you to do that for real. Americans don't have red egg parties. But Chinese people do, I said. Every time a Chinese baby is born, there's a red egg party. Maybe that would be enough. Not all Chinese babies get red egg parties, Lissy said. You didn't. I didn't. Why not? I asked. Probably because you didn't deserve it, Lissy said. You were the worst baby. You cried all the time and then you got so sick. They took you to the hospital and Mom and Dad were so worried. They had to put a tube on your ankle and put you in a plastic box. Lissy went to go wash her hands and get some paper to wrap the eggs in. Gee, what did you have? Melody asked. I know, Kiki said. You got sick from ammonia, Mama told me. Ammonia, I said. Isn't that the stuff in the window cleaner? Melody and I looked at each other. You must have been allergic to it, Melody said. But we have window cleaner now, I said. I saw it in the closet. We went to the closet and looked at the bottles. The bottles were on a shelf lined up in a row. The window cleaner was in the middle and looked like a bottle of swimming pool water. There it is, I said. You better not touch it, Melody said. You might get sick. It must be a mistake that we have it, I said. Maybe my mother forgot I was allergic to it. I'll throw it away for you, Melody said. What are you guys doing? Lissy asked us. We're getting rid of the ammonia so Pacey won't get sick again, Melody explained. Lissy started to laugh. She snatched the window cleaner from Melody and looked at me menacingly. Are you afraid of ammonia? She cackled, aiming the spray bottle at me. Stop! Melody screamed. Kiki screamed too, and I started to run. Melody tried to grab the window cleaner away from Lissy, and I hid behind the sofa. What's going on here? I heard Mom say. I crept out from behind the sofa. Lissy was going to spray me with the window cleaner, I said. Melody nodded in support. Lissy, put the window cleaner away. And you, Mom said to you, why are you so scared of window cleaner all of a sudden? Because it has ammonia, I said, and I told her the whole story. Mom laughed and shook her head. Then she explained to me that when I was a baby, I had pneumonia, which is like a very bad cold. It was a very different thing from ammonia. But if you were allergic, Mom said, it was very nice of Melody to try to keep you from getting sick. Guess you almost saved my life, I told her. Melody grinned, but whenever anyone mentioned window cleaner after that, we both turned red from embarrassment. Chapter 10, Albert's Party. Melody went home and we packed up the eggs in our suitcases to get into the car. Then Mom made us all get dressed up in our fancy Chinese clothes. My dress was a dark parsley green. It felt smooth and cool, like polished jade statue. Lissy's was peacock blue, and Kiki wore a pink dress with flowers embroidered on it. The dresses were all silky and shiny and had collars that buttoned close around our necks. The tight collars made it hard to breathe, but I didn't say anything because then I would be acting like a baby, like Kiki. Mom had to leave her collar open because she fussed so much. So you can see there's Pacey in her dress and Kiki in her dress. Finally, we got in the car and drove to Albert's house. He lived far away, so far that I got to miss school. We didn't have to travel as far as Grandma and Grandpa, though. They were coming all the way from Taiwan to see Albert, but they didn't go to school, so it didn't matter. It was a long drive. Sometimes I steamed up the window with my breath and drew a dog with my finger. I tried to think about what I wanted to be when I grew up, but nothing came to mind. Lissy and Kiki just snored. Sometimes we listened to music. Mom put in a tape with songs on it, and we sang along. Our favorite song was one that went like this. There was a hole, there was a hole, the prettiest hole that you ever did see, that you ever did see. The song kept going like that, with a bird's nest in the tree that grew from the hole. We made Mom play it over and over. Dad got very tired of the song. He said he was going to put the tape in a hole. When we finally got to Albert's house, it was dark outside. But Auntie Kim, Uncle Leo, Grandma and Grandpa, and lots of other cousins, aunts, and uncles came out and welcomed us inside. They were all wearing their special clothes, and in the moonlight we shimmered like stained glass windows. Grandma's dress was a silky silver gray color. She glowed like a pearl ring. All of our relatives hugged and kissed us and asked "Je ba over and over again. That meant, "Have you eaten yet?" in Taiwanese. I thought that was a silly question. Of course we hadn't eaten yet. We'd all been in the car the whole time. It was so crowded in the house. Red eggs were everywhere. Albert's name was written in Chinese on big pieces of red paper. Grandma and Grandpa hugged us again. We hadn't seen them in a long time. Cousin Jimmy, Sylvia, and Austin were there, and so were Uncle Molly and Aunt Judy. So many people. Here's Albert's banner that says, "Welcome, Albert." Albert was sleeping in a crib. I don't know how he could sleep with all those people around, but he did. He had a round, fat face with red cheeks. He looked like a red egg, but it could have been because he was sleeping on all those red envelopes. Relatives kept coming by and slipping those envelopes stuffed with money into the crib. It reminded me that I still had to think about how I was going to get rich. Lucky Albert, he was already rich. On the table there were brown stir-fried noodles, cooked duck shiny with oil, fresh lychees with their prickly pink skins, eggplant and brown sauce, shrimp with vegetables, snow-white rice, and puffy white pork buns with flame-colored meat. There was also a big bowl of yellow ginger and chicken soup. Only women can eat that, Uncle Leo told us. It gives them energy so they can take care of babies. Since Lissy and Kiki and I were girls, we decided to try a little. Besides, it was fun to be able to eat something that the boys couldn't have. It was thick and oily tasting. We didn't really like it, but we pretended it was delicious, just to make Cousin Jimmy jealous. While we were all at the table, Uncle Sam came downstairs to welcome us. "Shababe," he asked us, "have you eaten yet?" They kept asking that. Grown-ups were so silly. "We're eating right now," I said. Everyone laughed. I didn't understand why they were all laughing at me. "What's so funny?" I demanded. Mom explained to me that even though "Shababe" meant "have you eaten yet," it was also a Taiwanese way of just saying, "How are you all doing?" It's because food is so important to us, Uncle Leo told me. Everything is about food. "Yes," Auntie Kim said, and she pointed to Albert's name banner. "Do you know what Albert's name means? It means cooking duck. See, we even name you kids after food." "Really?" It was funny. I laughed with everyone else. "Then when can I have some more, Albert?" Everyone laughed as Mom put more duck on my plate. That is where we're going to stop today. We'll pick up tomorrow with Chapter 11, Tiger Chasing Pig. And I'll give you a little preview. You can see the slippers that are the picture for that. We've been reading The Year of the Dog by Grace Lin. And I hope that you'll join me tomorrow for the next part. Once again, my name is Sarah Mari. I'm one of the librarians at Portland Public Library in Portland, Maine. Thank you for listening. Bye.